the problems with the traditional press is that it's hard to know where their heart is, or like where they are on a topic. And so conversations with them have become a bit of a razor's edge, frankly.
Well, they're also like deeply influenced by money. Like that, that Racoon dog thing, I guarantee you there are some people behind the scenes that are trying to come up with some sort of a plausible scenario that's alternative to the lab leak theory. And that's why they're coming up with this. It's not like the people that I've talked to that understand this. I've had many conversations with virologists and evolutionary biologists who explain to me why this is most likely a lab leak. They're not arguing with this. So when someone comes along with this and they're saying, "Oh, we found it," like, no, you didn't. No, you know you didn't. You're writing this article because you're being influenced to do so. Like someone is telling them that this is a good thing to put out. Someone is giving them information and saying, we believe this and you should print this. Well, and there's money behind that doesn't reach independent journalism. That's the difference. Like the amount of money behind an advertisement that goes to CNN or an advertisement that goes to the New York Times, it's a different thing than what goes to Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar, than what goes to Matt Taibbi's Substack. There's none there. There's no influence there. These people are influenced by gigantic corporations. That's why they put out articles that are not plausible. That's why people don't trust them anymore. That's why, people think they're fucking shady.
Yeah, well, you're right. They're incentivized by a whole set of things that are not obvious from the articles themselves. I'm a huge fan of what Sagar and Crystal have done and are doing.
Me too.
Huge fan.
It's incredible.
It's incredible and it's important.
And they're so fucking honest. Like they give you what is their actual take on whatever is going on in the news, and it's well researched. And the fact that exists now is so important, because if it was not for independent journalism, we would be in a pickle. We would be in a really bad state, because a lot of people got duped by the pharmacological industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, the military industrial complex. They've been duped by so many different companies and corporations that have a vested interest in getting one narrative out. And if you can get that narrative out through the traditional pipelines of mainstream media with no one fact-checking, no one interfering, no independent journalist saying, actually, that's not true at all. Here's why they did that. This was the influence. Here's where the money is. We have emails. We can show you they were influenced. If it wasn't for them, we would be fucked. And it's one of the beautiful things about the internet today. The internet today allows people like that to thrive, because these mainstream media corporations are so corrupt. They're so obviously indebted to the companies that pay for their advertising.
Yeah, I mean, my initial experience of them was long before I had a podcast, did an interview with traditional media, and then it comes out, and they didn't say anything bad, but my quote was given to somebody else. Their quote was given to me.
Yeah.
And then and I wrote and said, hey, this is factually incorrect. I didn't say this. First of all, I'm not a medical doctor. They swapped the names either accidentally. And then I got this, oh, well, kind of response, like too late, but when it's
no retraction,
and when it's your neck on the line, it's your name. I mean, in science, all we have is our reputations.
Yeah.
In science or in anything, that's all we have is our reputation. So it's a scary thing to hand that over to somebody. So unless it's a particular few set of sources, I generally decline traditional media conversations. And now the fight isn't just for traditional, over media, traditional or independent. The universities too, right? We're asking, I have to say, and this is not to be, politically correct or incorrect. Stanford has been very good about letting different faculty at Stanford voice their differing opinions on everything from COVID to politics. There's a free speech, a right to free speech petition that's been going around the campus for a while. You can find this online. Now, a lot of people also will hear things about, I hear on college campuses like Stanford, you're getting a lot of pressure to do this or a lot of pressure to do that. Yeah, there are pressures from students and top down. Listen, students are under pressure, administrators are under pressure, faculty under pressure. But Stanford has been very good about allowing people to have their own independent social media channels and talk to the public the way they feel is best.
That's excellent.
And I have to say, it's one of the things that makes me really proud to be there. It's an amazing place too. But if you, and I'm not going to throw out names here because it's not my place and they should probably just come on the podcast separately, but you've got people at every end of the major debates out there about public health and everything in between on Twitter, fewer on Instagram, but on Twitter, voicing their opinion. And honestly, I think it's beautiful that they are allowed to do it.
Well, they're allowed to now because Elon bought Twitter. But before Elon bought Twitter, people were being silenced for things that have been absolutely proven to be correct, which is crazy.
No, what the value that he's given back to people in the last, what has it been, 4 or 5 months since he's been in there, is tremendous. I mean, I remember people picking on, oh, it's this feature or that feature. We're going to have to buy a verified check or whatever. You know, these things that when you compare that to the ability for people to have honest, open discourse, honest for them because, you know, there's no regulator, right? So that to me is incredible and fundamentally important. He's given people their voice back.
Yeah.
And that includes both sides. That's what's often not stated, is that people on both sides are starting to get the axe, mostly on one side. But it's really incredible. And I think I'm hopeful. You know, I'm a live and let live type person. I really, as long as people aren't harming other people, I truly just encourage people to do what feels right to them.
As we should all be.
You know,
it's
kind of bananas where we went between, you know, in the last few years. But what's happened in health and public health, I think, is pretty remarkable and encouraging from my standpoint anyway, which is people now realize that medical doctors have a certain type of information that is extremely valuable. And they come in a range of flavors and qualities. Same with psychologists, same with scientists, same with public health officials, same with everything from your masseuse to your chiropractor. Like there is a range of quality and expertise and orientation. And to silence any one of those at the exclusion of the others is not only foolish, it's dangerous. And so I think there's no going back. There's no going back. Now people seek advice on multiple dimensions. You know, a few years ago, if you said supplements, people were like, oh, that's expensive urine. Well, that's true if you're talking about vitamins and minerals. But how many people do I know who during the pandemic started taking vitamin D, getting some sunshine